Well, good morning.
Good morning.
I guess some of you have had a pleasant surprise if you weren't expecting me. It's always better to be seen than viewed. Even Keaton smiled on that one. Tough crowd this morning, tough crowd. What a beautiful day. It has. We had just beautiful weather for our trip, and I thank the Lord for it. He is so good to us, despite having to come back and go to work. But even in that, He provides for us, doesn't He? And keeps me singing as I go. Keeps me singing as I go. Let's look at 2 Samuel, chapter 17. Just to remind you of where we left off in this story. Absalom has now usurped his authority of the throne, and David left Jerusalem. And Absalom asked his counselor, Ahithophel, who also abandoned David, "What should I do next?" And rather than being satisfied and content with his position, his lust for power, and Absalom's a murderer. That's his only accomplishment. He murdered his brother. Decides to pursue and kill David. And Ahithophel said, "Let me take a small band and let me go get him. And I'll kill just the king tonight and bring the rest of the people back. Smite the shepherd and the sheep are scattered." That was his counsel. And Absalom says, "I want another opinion." And remember, David has sent Hushai back to Jerusalem. He said, "Maybe you can help defeat the counsel of Ahithophel." And David prayed over that. And we talked last time about how God answered David's prayer. Even in the middle of David's chastisement here and judgment, God is still hearing his prayers. When we mess up, keep praying. Winston Churchill said, when you're going through hell, keep going. He keeps me singing as I go. Though the trials fall across the way, though the waters are deep. And God heard and answered a guilty man's prayer. Y'all, that was such an encouragement, man. I'd never seen that before. You know, you read that and you read what's going on there and the horrible counsel that Ahithophel had just given in the previous chapter to Absalom. And here Hushai says, "Nope, let's not do what he said. The counsel of Ahithophel is not good. Your daddy's a man of war. Name a victory or name a battle that David's lost." He says, "You need to gather the militia together and you need to lead them into battle and you need to defeat them all, not just spare the men and kill the king as Ahithophel." And Absalom here in verse 14 says, "And Absalom and all the men of Israel said, the counsel of Hushai the Archite is better than the counsel of Ahithophel. For the Lord had appointed to defeat the good counsel of Ahithophel to the intent that the Lord might bring evil upon Absalom." So Absalom thinks that the Lord is looking out for him. I want to ask you something this morning. This is the point I want to make. Who deceived Absalom? Our dear brother here has mentioned a lot about being self-deceived. How did Absalom get here? Where did this start? What did he do? Who deceived Pharaoh? Who deceives clay? Now we're told time and time again, if we say we have no sin, we deceive ourselves. 1 John 1:8. If we say we have no sin, we deceive ourselves. Who looks after me better than me? And you know, the things I don't want to hear is what I need to hear. I was trying to do something this morning, about the second time I've ever done it, and I made a mess of it. Melissa was trying to show me how to do it right. She'd done showed me one time. And I got mad, and she said, I cannot believe you are acting this way over something so small. I'm just trying to help you. And she was just trying to help me. But if she'd have told me I was doing a great job and puffed me up and whatever, yeah, I know what I'm doing. And that's what these men here are really doing to Absalom. Rather than telling him, hey, you need to go beg your daddy for forgiveness and put him back on the throne where he belongs, he has further been given a strong delusion. This scares me. The brother prayed, help us to discern what's right. Can we discern what's right outside of God's help? Jesus warned over to take heed that no man deceive you. You little children, listen, it scares me what you're facing. I thought the world I faced was rough. And a lot of the problem is we've got a lot of Absaloms in the pulpit. They removed the previous one for their better ideas. We don't need the old versions. We've got the newer, improved this, that, and the other. And I'm not saying you can't feed there, and I'm not saying all that's wrong. I'm not being judgmental. But we're challenged also to try the spirits. Try the spirits. I don't go to the doctor for him to tell me how healthy I am. I've never walked in there feeling bad and wanted him to say, oh, you're fine, go home. Keep doing what you're doing. I come here for these men to plow the field. Are we self-deceived? Do we come here to be told everything's going to be all right Sunday after Sunday after Sunday? What if you told Job everything was going to be all right in the middle of what he was doing, going through? Are we self-deceived like Absalom here? If you would, in closing, let's look at Matthew chapter 13. I'll remind you what James 1:22 says. But be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. Be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only. For years I'd come and sit in this pew, and I'd hear the word, and it would, hey, I got this. And then Monday morning, nothing had changed. I was still clay. I'd go back the next Sunday for another dose. I would hear it. But I wasn't about his agenda or his will. It was about my will. Who am I deceiving there? Is the preacher deceiving me? See, when we are drawn away of our own lusts. What's happened to Absalom here? He was drawn away of his own lusts. He succeeded in murdering his brother. Now he's next in line to the throne. He hired 50 men to run before him. The people's like, oh, this is good. Stood outside the gate of the castle there telling everybody when they'd come to be judged, oh, that I were sheriff. This is the way it would be. Self-deceived. It's dangerous because how do you know you're deceived? Listen, when your time of visitation is up and the Lord sends you a strong delusion and you believe the lie, I wonder if I'm there in some areas. Have I just blinded myself to the point where I'll never see what's right or wrong in that area again? This is a familiar parable. In verse 18 here, Matthew 13. The parable of the sower. Verse 18, hear ye the parable of the sower. When anyone heareth the word of the kingdom, and understandeth it not, then cometh the wicked one, and catcheth away that which was sown in his heart. This is he which received seed by the wayside. But he that received the seed in stony places, the same as he that heareth the word, and anon with joy receiveth it. You ever been in church and you heard the word and you with joy you received it? Yet he hath not root in himself, but dureth for a while. For when Monday morning ariseth, for when tribulation and persecution ariseth, because of the word, by and by he is offended. And he also that receiveth seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word, and the care of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and he becometh unfruitful. But he that receiveth seed into the good ground is he that heareth the word, and understandeth it, which also beareth fruit, and bringeth forth some 100-fold, some 60, and some 30. I was looking at this. Of course, we know the seed is the word. And there's many times I've heard it joyfully. I'm glad to hear that. But it says he received it into the stony places. Me and Melissa had come down here one Saturday for marriage counseling. And on the way back out, Sister Cindy was sitting on the porch. And we stopped. This was when Brother Jimmy was still alive. And she said, yeah, y'all come on in to see him. And she asked me, said, do you know who this is? She said, oh, yeah, I know who this is. He gave me that plaque right there, the It Is Well plaque that he had on the wall. Now, what had he done with the gift I give him? He received it, and he put it somewhere where he'd see it. This right here implies when you receive it, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to put it in the corner? You ever planted a garden? Ask Harold what he does with the seed. He puts it in a good spot. He's not careless with it to throw it over there on the sidewalk. This implies responsibility on my part. Thy word have I hid in my heart, that I might not sin against thee. When I receive this word, am I going to throw it in the thorns? Oh, yeah, I'm glad I got it, but I don't really need it. Because when you plant it, listen, the same parallels here are the parallels of the talents. Those men were given talents. What did they do with them? One hid it in the earth. The others went to the market and made more with it, and it brought forth more fruit. I hope this morning that we don't just hear the word and joyfully receive it, but we just cast it into the stony parts of our heart. I hope we take the time to hide it in our heart so that it will spring forth and bring fruit abundantly. And that we don't end up like Absalom. Listen, this man's fate is going to be terrible, as we'll see in the coming weeks. Because of his pride. First, he took revenge. Listen, that's why they're here, and that's why you can see when we don't follow the commandments of this word, how we can become self-deceived. His pride, he took revenge and he won. Then he got, hey, if I'm successful at this, one of the worst things that can happen to you is you can be successful in the wrong things. Because then your pride just keeps puffing you up. And directly, you've got a whole loaf of bread there, buddy. Hide this word in the good part of your heart. Don't just cast it in the thorns. By Monday morning, will we remember any of this? Or will the cares of this world done be choked it all out? I love you. I'm glad we made it back to be with y'all this morning.